Hi, Dave Etchells here from Imaging Resource. I wanted to talk to you today about the new Sigma dp2 Quattro. I've got it in my hand here. As you can see, it's a completely different looking camera than anything you've seen. We've been shooting it within the lab for a couple of days now. We've been really impressed by the image quality, and you can go to our site and see a full set of JPEGs and the X3F RAW files if you want to play with those. But I wanted to talk to you today about the design. As I said, it's completely different than any camera you've seen. That actually means you need to hold it differently than any camera. I think this has been the cause of a lot of confusion and maybe led some people to dismiss the Quattro. But if you hold it correctly, it actually provides a very, very stable grip. So let's take a look at that and compare it to a conventional camera. I've got a Nikon D7100 here with my old 18 to 70mm lens on it. And let's just walk through the grip that I think myself and probably a lot of other photographers use. Basically, I tend to hold it like this. On the right hand, I've got my index finger obviously on the shutter button. My other fingers wrap around the grip. I kind of tuck my pinky finger underneath, and then my thumb goes against the little bump on the back there. My left hand, I tend to fold my fingers underneath, use that as a support for the base of the camera and the lens barrel, and then my thumb and index finger of my left hand can operate the focus and zoom rings. So it seems like a pretty stable hold. I got my fingers wrapped well around it. It seems pretty secure in my hands. And we'll take a look too at a compact camera. It's very much the same. So this is the Sony Rx1r, real premium compact, and it's got more of the standard, sort of rectangular box with the lens on front. As you can see, I'm holding it very similarly to how I would the SLR. I've got my right hand wrapping around here, thumb on the little bump, thumb and index finger on the lens. If I hold it up more, I might go like this, but that's basically the hold, maybe like this, but it's very similar. So here's the dp2 Quattro, and if I try to go and grab it like I do a regular camera and get my hand in here, it's just a mess. There's no room for my fingers, the hood's in the way. Even if I take the hood off though, but it's just not a convenient grip. There's really no way to get a hold of that lens. So here's how you actually need to hold it. On your right hand, you put the corner of the camera against the ball of your thumb, in that general area anyway, and then your index finger over the shutter button, and your thumb can either be underneath that little lip there to hold it, or you can just keep your thumb over the focus control. On the other side, same story. The corner goes against the ball of your thumb. Your index finger can either be on top, or you can extend your index finger forward to control the focus ring. But what happens here though is that when you're holding it like this, it ends up being a very stable hold, because there's a direct connection really from the ball of your thumb right down your arm on both sides. And the camera itself, when I'm holding it like this, there's no torsion, there's no rotational force on my wrists. Basically my wrists are completely relaxed, so I'm not relying or using my wrist muscles to hold the camera vertical, and that's going to translate into less muscle tremor. Let's talk about a more subtle point though. Notice my grip, and in particular how far apart my hands are. It turns out that most of the blur from camera motion, at least if you're shooting at a distance, is from the rotation of the camera body, not so much up and down or side to side movement. Let's suppose that I had, say I'm a very shaky shooter, and I had a centimeter of motion between my two hands. You can see about how much the camera's rotating and how the angle of the lens barrel is changing. Let's compare that to a conventional camera, and you'll see my hands are much closer to each other there. So here we are back with the Nikon D7000 again. And notice, see the distance between my hands. I've got one hand on the lens, one hand on the grip. It's about half the distance on the Sigma, on the Quattro. And for the same 1 centimeter motion, I'm actually picking up about twice as much rotation of the camera body. So that's another factor with the Quattro, is that your hands being further apart, it's going to make it that much less sensitive to motions of your hands. So that's the story with the Sigma dp2 Quattro and its radically new body design. When I was at the CP Plus show in Yokohama back last February, Kazuo Yamaki, the Sigma CEO, told me that this was one of their real primary concerns in designing the camera and designing the body, was that they had such a high-resolution sensor. They wanted to provide a very stable grip so that people would be able to take advantage of all that resolution. Having played with the camera a little bit now, I'd have to say that they succeeded. You definitely don't want to pick it up and hold it like a regular camera. You'll be frustrated. But if you hold it the way it was designed to be, it's a very, very stable platform.